And we're live.
What is going on, everybody? It is a Monday, one day removed of game one. Unfortunately, it's another Honolulu Blues Lions loss, but there was some good things. There was some good things to take from this. So we're ultimately going to be talking the game. And of course, we'll be previewing the Commanders game, in which the Lions got a little bit of surprise, in which Commanders, they're now down not one, but two starting defensive linemen. We'll get more to that later. But Nick, my guy, what is going on? You were cheering for me at the Lions game. I loved your text. I was laughing when you were saying, "Be louder, Adam. I can hear you. Come on."
We needed you there, bro. We needed you there. We needed your energy, and you brought it. I'm so happy that you were there. It's unfortunate, the outcome of the game, but always fun to go to a season kickoff. I went last year against the Niners, where we made this epic comeback, fell just a little bit short. Eerily similar to yesterday, where we made this epic comeback and fell just a little bit short. But I love it, dude. It's Monday, and the Lions did not get blown out, and that's a good thing. We played a very good team, and I'm excited to dive into it. Let's talk about it. Let's go.
Absolutely. At least we didn't get blown out. At least, we put some points up. It was a fun game. We were watching till the very end, in which after that pick six and a couple other things, it really could have seemed like the Eagles could have been up 28-7, getting the ball back at halftime. So Lions managed it as best as they could. But Julius, how you doing, my guy?
Doing pretty good for the day after a Lions loss. I feel a little different, than usual. I was telling Nick, this ain't like 0-7 last year, defeated Monday, you know what I'm saying? Just depressed as H, like, God dang, we're in the mud. So this is more like, okay, we lost, but all is not lost. All hope is not lost. And there are some good things, some bad things, and a lot of things to keep us engaged. So ready to rock and roll, man.
Yes, sir. Not a lot of news today. There is one minor piece of news that is going to affect the Lions in a positive way, and that's Dak Prescott. He injured his thumb last night and is now going to be out likely 6 to 8 weeks. And guess who plays the Cowboys week 6? Ooh, that's right. Detroit Lions, baby. So hopefully Dak doesn't, get a super thumb and come back early and, light the Lions up, and we can have our Cowboys revenge, show Julius, allow Julius to bring out his inner lion in Cowboy Stadium and just ultimately, get a win that may not have been a win if Dak was there.
Please.
The Cowboys looked trash. We would have beat them regardless, dude.
I think so, yeah.
Cowboys have no offensive line. Cooper Rush, actually, I'm a little scared. He might have a revenge game against the damn Lions because he's Central
Michigan man.
Fire up chips. So I'm like, bring Dak back, rush him along, have him out there with the broken hand, thinking he's good to go, save this 2-5 season for the Cowboys, and then boom, we'll just eat him up. I would love that. But Julius, you got to be really loud at that game.
Oh,
We'll be rooting you on, Julius. We'll be rooting you on. Nick, while we're talking games, are you making out to any Lions games? I'm sure you are, but I just have to ask.
Yeah, for sure. Nothing planned right now with the wedding in 4 days,
yeah.
Right? It's Monday, so Friday's the wedding.
Yes, sir.
So with that, nothing has been scheduled. But what I have been trying to plant a seed is I was talking to my fiance, soon-to-be wife, yesterday, and I said, what we could do for our anniversary every September 16th? Go to wherever the Lions are, whether it's home, whether it's in Chicago, Los Angeles, wherever the Lions are, we'll go and enjoy them for our anniversary. It got turned down, but I feel like if I continue to press on it.
Planting the seeds, Nick. You just get that message floated across, bring it up another time, couple other times. Next thing you know, she's going, hey, maybe we should have our anniversary with the Lions each year,
Yeah.
It's mind games.
Good thing she's not listening. She never listens.
All right. Let's hop right into this game breakdown because there's a lot. It started off with a bang. It started off, honestly, so Lions-esque. It was a little screen pass to Swift, loss of 3, and it was like, oh, no. Are we about to go 3 and out? And is this? No. And then very next play, DeAndre Swift does not disappoint, hits the hole as big as, a whale, just gets right through, makes a man miss, gets the outside edge, and finally Darius Slay had to chase him down and get him down to the ground, where Jamal Williams would ultimately finish off that touchdown drive. So, Julius, after watching that first drive, what were you feeling? Were you feeling we got this, or was this, same old, come on, boys?
See, I was kind of in the middle. Because I don't trust the Lions after a quarter. I really don't. But I have to admit that this felt a little different, because really Jared Goff, he was the X factor. He is the X factor for the Lions. If he's playing good, we got a good chance to beat anybody. I believe anybody in the NFL. Literally, we can put up points on anybody when he's on. But he really wasn't on. That first drive, Swift broke off. Swift, he was like my comfort. I was like, okay, this offensive line is Swift. And then, Amon-Ra and TJ Hawkinson in the short seams. You got that blanket right there. We can score touchdowns. But, I didn't think we were about to have 3 straight 3-and-outs after that. But once those 3 straight 3-and-outs came, that's when I was worried. And that's why I didn't get too happy after 7-0, because with Goff in his offense, it's a flow. It's something you see, it's something you feel, something they see and feel, and everything's going. If something's not going right, then it's an issue. And that issue was Jared Goff.
Yeah, most certainly. He did have the pick six as well, which was a mixture of, bad pass protection, bad throw, and then bad route ran. So Hawk broke one way, Goff thought he was breaking the opposite, and it was just a tip pass.
It happened like 5 times.
Yes,
Matter of fact, 5, 6, 7 times.
It was weird. It was weird.
Unacceptable.
And not just the bad routes, but the drops too. We saw guys, DJ Chark had a drop. Josh Reynolds had a huge drop. I believe Amon-Ra had a drop.
Jamal Williams.
Yeah, it was pretty much 4 to 5 guys had drops, which is like, if it hits your hands, you got to catch it. I don't care if it hits your fingertips. I don't care if you have to jump 10 feet in the air and it barely touches your hands. If it touches your hands, that's the golden rule in the NFL. You got to catch it. So if we flip the script on those, get those, all those drops turn into completions, honestly, this could be a different game. So you feeling the same, Nick, or what?
Yeah, the drops were significant, and that was later in the game. Early in the game, after that 7-0 win, my overreaction Kool-Aid was flowing, right? 7-0 lead. I mean, I was flying. Super Bowl bound, boys. Oh my gosh. We weren't stopping them on 3rd down. The biggest thing was we dug a hole, right? That first quarter, we were okay. That second quarter hit, and they scored, and it was just an onslaught because Jared Goff gave no time for our defense to rest. And immediately I was thinking about what we talked about, Adam, which was how gassed Aiden Hutchinson was after a few times in Hard Knocks we saw it. So that was immediately on my head, and I'm like, okay, these boys are tired, right? We got Comiskey, they were sending like the NASCAR package, 4 edge rushers all lined up on the line, and we aren't getting through. We aren't doing anything to break through this offense line. It's one of the best offensive lines in the entire NFL. We knew that was going to be a hard thing, and we knew Jared Goff was going to have to win the game by keeping our offense on the field, and that's how we were going to win, by running the ball, and it looked like we were going to be able to do that. And immediately after that first drive, everyone caved in. They weren't allowing us to run. Jamal Williams was getting a lot more opportunities than maybe he should have. And ultimately, Jared Goff didn't get it done on 3rd down, just like our defense didn't get it done on 3rd down. While we were going 3-and-out, our defense was letting up these 12 to 15 play drives. And then 30 seconds later, we're 3-and-out and we're back at it. And then 30 seconds later, we're back at it. That's terrible. It's such a big hole. That's such a Lions thing to do. We dug the hole so deep. It was a roller coaster. I was high after that 7-0 lead. I was real low at 24-7 or whatever it was, 21-7.
Yeah, it was a big roller coaster of emotions, and especially at the stadium too. You saw the momentum. The crowd was insane. We get the touchdown, and then our defensive drive we pretty much did what we needed to do. It was a 9-play, 35-yard drive by the Eagles in which they went for it on 4th and 5, and it was a great coverage by Manio, and we stopped it. So a first, perfect, not perfect, I guess, defensive drive, because a 3-0 or interception would have been perfect, but acceptable. Defensive, hold, stand, whatever. And then all of a sudden, our team implodes. Goff comes out fresh after, the defense has, the Eagles out playing for a bit with a, mildly long drive. And then Goff comes out 3 plays, 4 yards. First play, -2 yards to Amon-Ra. Swift got 6 yards, and then it was another incomplete pass. So it's like, I don't know what the key is, but when we have the momentum like that, we cannot have 3 and outs.
My dad texted me and he said, maybe they should have played a little bit more than just one drive in the preseason. Maybe had these guys done what like Andy Reid likes to do, even with Patrick Mahomes, and put his players in for the first quarter of preseason games. Doesn't matter if it's Pat Mahomes, doesn't matter. He's in the game in preseason. Maybe we should be doing stuff like that. I tweeted out after that freaking Bradbury tip touchdown where Hawkinson digged and then went on out and Goff just thought he was digging. I tweeted out immediately, like, did we practice? Like, what are we doing? There was literally no rhythm between Goff. At that point, Goff was at his all-time low, and it wasn't because Goff was making bad throws. It was because Goff and his pass catcher, whomever it may be, were completely off sync. And it took an entire, first quarter plus another 10 minutes of the second quarter for them to really figure it out. And then we started to score at the back end of the second half and all this. We'll get into that. But I'm just saying, like, to start this game, you don't know what we could have done, Adam. Is like, maybe we should have played more, and maybe the practice reps aren't as much as live reps as we think they are. You need to have live reps against people trying to maul you and not just be like, oh, I don't know. That's just an idea.
Honestly, that's a great point, Nick. I'm curious to see the amount of teams that like the starters and snap percentage. Whoever had the highest amount, like which team had their starters at the highest snap percentage for preseason games, how well they did for week 1 matchups. And you make a great point, because how many times realistically do you think a receiver or running back, tight end, whatever, runs their practice route 100% full speed like they're going up against an NFL cornerback in game?
You're supposed to, but I doubt it.
Yeah, maybe once or twice. And then your other 5 reps are nice, probably 75 to 85% speed. It's a little bit different. And I do think we saw that little bit different in the Lions game, and small errors added up. All right, let's talk a little good. We did kind of bounce back from this terrible 3-and-out drive. Well, I should say after the pick 6. So yeah, let's talk. I guess we were talking about the pick 6. Do you guys fault Goff, or was this, combination of both? Or I guess, Julius, what was your initial? Was this a Goff botch, or was this just an all-around Lions mistake?
It seems like to be an all-around mistake. I mean, honestly, Goff sometimes, like I said, this miscommunication, like supposed to be running an out but ran a streak miscommunication, that happened like 5 or 6 times. Like Goff he can't recognize in his head, hold on, he's not running the right route. I'm not just gonna throw it into space. Maybe the pressure got to him a little bit. We all know how Goff is with pressure in his face. He kind of just does stuff, sometimes just takes sacks. I'd rather him took a sack, to be honest, but I don't know. It was just one of those things. And then, like you said, the second half really wasn't that way, though. They started to shore up things. There were still some drops going on. But honestly, those three straight 3-and-outs, to me, were a fluke. Because when I saw Jared Goff and his offense in the preseason, they didn't look like that. They looked in sync in the preseason. In training camp, they looked in sync. I mean,
Jared Goff had 1 drive in preseason. He looked good, but that was it. It was the first drive of the first.
Did y'all hear reports about this happening in training camp on practice? Like players running the wrong routes, or Jared Goff being off sync with his receivers, or even the receivers dropping the ball. Like, I didn't hear nothing about drops being a problem all training camp, Hard Knocks preseason, but now we get like 7 drops and it kills us. That makes me feel like it was fluky and fixable.
It really was the tale of two halves. You know what I mean? Like
it was weird.
Once it wasn't weird. It was just due to lack of coaching, in my opinion, and being prepared for after. Like the first drive was executed perfectly, and everyone knows that a team goes into the game with a first drive plan, and then you kind of roll from there, right? You have a plan for 2 and 3, but you just all kind of depends on game script. We executed at a top-notch level, very much helped by a 60-yard run from DeAndre Swift. But with that, we executed at a top level from that first drive. We were out coached, and we were not by Nick Sirianno. We were literally out coached by ourselves by lack of coaching. We weren't ready. We were not prepared for this game. And it wasn't until the back half of the second, when shit was in do or die situation, we go down 21-7, and it's either you score or we're going home before halftime even gets here. And this is just like the Jets-Lions game with Patricia coaching. This is terrible. So we picked it up. Then Goff got mad. Goff got angry, and he put shit on his
Turned it up a notch. It was weird.
We need to have that momentum and that kill mentality. Ben Johnson and Dan Campbell cannot come out here and let Jared Goff be this scared kid trying to be calm and execute. No. Jared Goff, you are not good at that. You need to literally just go down the throat every single time, and that's what we need.
I 100% agree. I think Goff plays with like a little bit of not like, I guess nervousness is the right
reservation
word.
Maybe like,
yeah, like he's just not 100% dialed in all the time.
Reserved.
And then when you see the drives, like I shouldn't really say the first drive because he just handed the ball off to Swift and took it there. But the drive right before half, when we scored a touchdown, bouncing back from a pick 6, we absolutely had to score, had to get some sort of positive drive here. And Goff let us back down, a 10-play, 75-yard touchdown, and ultimately kind of gave us a breath of air in which a game was looking pretty bad. So for me, Goff, I feel like he needs to just always be like, all right, this is my moment. I got to take control.
And you know, we're talking a lot about Goff because he's our quarterback. Obviously, DeAndre Swift deserves,
oh my gosh,
peak performer.
Bro.
He's absolutely just. But on that drive, this is why I want to bring him up. He's obviously been amazing. That was an amazing run. At this point in time, we're down 21-7. Jared Goff gets us down there on what? It looks like the 7-yard. No, sorry. Yeah, 7-yard line. 7-yard line. 3rd and 1, Jamal Williams, no gain. 4th and 1, DeAndre Swift, they give it to him on a 4th and 1 pitch to the left, and he hits the outside and hits it in. That's a gutsy play. It's a gutsy play to run it. I'm glad they didn't go up the middle like we all know Patricia would have done. I'm glad they tried to do this outside, and it worked. DeAndre Swift put us on his back just even more than Jared Goff did. Jared Goff came out and played angry and played how he should. DeAndre Swift played above what he needed to do. Like, Jared Goff played kind of how he had to at the end of the game. DeAndre Swift did so much all game. Unbelievable.
Swift, honestly, and how funny is it? After this show, I'm going to go do some digging and find the tweet because I know the boneheads at Pro Football Network, I believe, whoever tweeted out that DeAndre Swift was the 32nd best running back in the NFL was absolutely crazy. They had guys like Sony Michel in front of them, guys like Miles Sanders, even though Miles Sanders played pretty well, but you get what I'm saying. DeAndre Swift he is a top 5 running back in my mind. Am I wrong, boys?
Top 5 running back. I'll argue for you.
All right.
I would definitely argue that.
Yeah. Okay. And before that game, honestly, I think it was top 7 to 10 was the argue point. Now top 5. So end of season, I want a consensus. DeAndre Swift is the best damn running back in the NFL. And
that'd be great.
Good start, man. Good start. 144 yards on the ground, a touchdown. You could honestly couldn't ask for much more. But let's talk another thing that was a big concern in this game. probably the biggest concern. And it was weird because Dan Campbell didn't make an adjustment to it. He kind of just let it be. And that was Jalen Hurts running the ball. He had just any lane he wanted. If it was rolling out right, he was getting the right edge. If it was rolling out left, it was getting left edge. If it was pressure on the outsides, he was moving up, running up the middle. He was doing it all. There was never once that I can remember a spy, a linebacker, someone trying to contain, make sure that he wasn't going to get past the line of scrimmage. So for me, if I feel almost like if you just lock down Hurts, I feel like we can win that game. And there was multiple third downs and second and longs where Hurts scrambled and got 15 yards, 12 yards. There was a big one. I think it was the Eagles' first touchdown. It was 3rd and 15 or something. And Hurts just had a wide open right side, took off, and the cornerback still running with the wide receiver. And every fan's just saying, turn around. And Hurts is just trailing them for the first down and more. So for me, I need to see some sort of adjustment. Maybe not a spy, but just some sort of containing a running quarterback. Am I wrong, Nick?
Yeah, I'm going to chalk that one up to first game. We contained Kyler Murray pretty well last year in a W.
Which is weird, just real quick, because most running quarterbacks last year, Dan Campbell handled pretty well. And I was expecting Hurts to, not have a game like this.
Yeah, I'm there's fresh legs has a big thing to do with it.
True.
Wait till he gets a couple bone bruises. It's just going to slow down towards the end. I tweeted this out. We're winning 10 games this year, and we'll see the Eagles. The NFL is a funny way of repeating this. We'll see the Eagles in the first round after they win their division, and we're in the wild card. We'll be in Philly, and we're going to play them again. I can almost bet my life on this that's what's going to happen this year, because it's going to be just a different game. We allowed them to get 44 points last year. We allowed them to get 38 this year. Wasn't the best defensive showing. We didn't do well keeping Jalen Hurts contained and at bay, especially on later downs. But the big thing was we saw Aiden Hutchinson, we saw this a few times, fly right past him, right? With that's going to come experience, intelligence. He is going to adjust. He will be better the next time we play a running. He will have faced Justin Fields twice. He will have faced guys like Tua, Josh Allen. It will be a whole different Aiden Hutchinson and defense next time we see him. This was just week one. Welcome. Jalen Hurts is a very good running quarterback. We saw his throws. I thought they were dismal. That is exactly who I thought he was throwing the football. Luckily, A.J. Brown is just one of the most talented wide receivers in the entire world, and Amani-O had no solution. Once we put Okudah on him, he was shut down and locked down. Okudah played phenomenal yesterday. But anyways, I don't know where I was going with all this, so I'm just going to end it right there.
I love it. To pick up off Okudah, yeah, he played phenomenal. He was one of the guys that was a positive takeaway from this game, in which, maybe you were disappointed with Hutchinson, maybe you're disappointed with Goff and the receivers, but we know that I just lost my train of thought, like you did. Okudah, God, I don't know why I could not.
Speaking of Okudah, real quick, the defensive penalty call against him was atrocious.
Yeah, that was terrible. That was so bad.
That was fine, clean coverage, and they just threw it because they didn't want the Lions to win. I sit here and I stand by it. The referees hate Detroit, and it's messed up. I was about to swear, but I won't. I'll keep it PG for the families today. But, man, that was atrocious. That was some terrible calling. They freaking, Dallas Goedert came up and shoved Tracy Walker. So Tracy Walker turns around and slaps him, and then he gets the second personal foul. Shouldn't have even been a personal foul on Hurts to begin with, and then kick him out of the game. So then we have Will Harris freaking playing the end of this game. If we had Tracy Walker in there, Tracy Walker was playing out of his mind with a sack. He already had a sack in that game. No one could get Hurts, but Tracy Walker could.
Yeah.
That kid was playing out of his mind, and I think he's going to this year. I was pissed about that. The refs did not help us.
You know what's hilarious? I know you're dying to get in here, Julius, but real quick. They announced a personal foul on number 25, and then they announced a personal foul on number 25, and they go, "Oh, I was thinking they must have said the number wrong." Tracy Walker did get two personal fouls. He'd be kicked out of the game, and they didn't. I don't think they announced Tracy Walker has been ejected or anything like that. It was just like he's out. And
He's
so
gone.
I didn't even know he got ejected until I saw a Pride Nation tweet or Pride of Detroit tweet that was like something about it. And so there was at least a couple plays that I'm sure he could have impacted. So Julius, thoughts on Lions stopping a running quarterback?
Hurts was the worst first game quarterback we could have had in week 1. Honestly, we was not ready for him and his fresh legs and that Eagles offensive line, which is stupendous, probably better than ours, if not just as good. And AJ Brown is literally a master route runner. And Amani, they should have been put Okuda on AJ Brown. I already knew Amani couldn't hang. Amani is a zone specialist. Like he diagnoses the field. You know, he's not really bump and run sticky man like that.
Did we all see Amani go to try to stick AJ and AJ just whipped him down and was open by 15 yards, immediately threw his hand up? That's exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
It was perfect for the RPO that the Eagles was running because all they needed was last year the Lions lost because of talent, okay? We was not good enough to stop their run game. I remember like 3 of their running backs had like 5 rushing TDs on us or some craziness.
Like Jordan Howard.
It wasn't
Jordan Howard, it
wasn't
even like Hurts.
A touchdown this year against us. 4 different just as bad.
Hurts didn't even do nothing to us really last year on the ground or in the air. It was basically all run based. But we knew that they like to do this RPO. So this year it wasn't a talent problem. We just wasn't ready. We were not ready to adjust to that. Aiden Hutchinson, listen, I don't know how many times I thought we sacked this man. Okay, not just Aiden Hutchinson either. It was even Austin Bryant a couple times. Comiskey a couple times. I'm talking about running straight past him and he gone. Like, that's not going to continue.
And then Charles Harris, he did. I want to give Charles Harris a sack because he literally had Jalen Hurts, and Hurts just did like a little left-handed flip out of bounds.
Yeah.
There was 2 missed intentional groundings that the referees didn't call that I flipped my lid.
Oh, man, when they said he was outside of the tackle box, I lost my Detroit.
He was behind the guard.
He was behind the guard.
Yes. He wasn't even outside the hashes. He wasn't even outside of the guard. He was behind both. It was like the double whammy. And the ref must have been, had something in his eye, some turf in his eye, was seeing, double guards and thought Hurts was on the outside, I guess. But that was one of the bad ones where my mom didn't really understand because, most casual fans understanding intentional grounding where they're like, no, we had to be outside the tackle box. And they're like, what the hell's a tackle box?
Right.
Well, it's the 2 hashes or the guards, and Hurts was not outside either. So, terrible call.
Yeah.
All right, boys. Another thing that was huge in this game, not just the pick six, but this was the other thing that possibly could have cost us the game. It definitely impacted the game one way or another. It was the onside kick right after we scored the touchdown. I think it was right to start the third quarter.
They went and got a field goal off of it. Wait, no, a touchdown off of it.
They got a touchdown.
Yeah, it was. I'm sorry.
So Eagles scored a touchdown, then we scored a touchdown, and then we went onside kick, and then it led to an Eagles touchdown. And ironically, I looked right to my mom, and I was like, hey, you know what we should do here? We should totally onside kick this. This is a Dan Campbell. He's going to onside kick it here. And sure enough, he did, and we didn't get it. It would have been super cool if we got it. But ultimately, given the Eagles that good field position, Julius, I don't know. Did it come to bite us in the butt?
Yes, it did come to bite us in the butt because they scored a quick touchdown. I think it was the long pass to AJ Brown right there because they got it at like the 50, and then it was like a 36 yarder to AJ Brown on like the next play or second down.
Yes, it was. Yeah, hold on. 23 yarder to Dallas. It was Dallas Goedert.
Dallas Goedert. He was getting underneath too. That RP. See, that's what that RPO did to our defense too. It just warped our corners. Like they didn't know what to do. I mean, Okuda played well in run support. Matter of fact, he's the only one I give Mike Hughes played better than Amani. Amani just played horrible. Really, he did. I hope that he recovers from this. But that was the bad decision, that onside kick. I would have kicked it as deep as I could out of the end zone and gave him the ball at the 25 so we can try to, pin them deeper so they don't score. The closer they get to the closer they are to the touchdown, they're a very good red zone team. They really are with Hurts and A.J. Brown and Goddard. They are really good. So you want to keep them away from the red zone. So I'm not cool with onside kicks in the third quarter. I understand we were desperate. Felt like our defense couldn't get off the field at that time, but they started to get off the field after that. I mean, they had like 2 or 3 straight stops to give the offense a chance. I say trust your offense. That was a bad move. I wish I could talk to Dan Campbell about it personally so I can just, that he understands that this is not a game, that this is wins and losses. You know what I'm saying? The same way if I wish I could talk to Jared Goff, but not my. I was pretty pissed at Dan Campbell for letting that call go. Honestly, I felt like that was huge.
And you know what's kind of ironic? That would be the last points the Eagles would get all game. So super interesting there. It pushes them to a 17-point lead. The Lions just, couldn't come back. We did answer with another touchdown right away. And it seemed like when we needed to answer, we punched back. But we couldn't ever get the Eagles on the ground. It felt like they were punching us in the face. We'd get back up, punch them in the face. They'd punch us back harder. We'd get back up, exactly what Dan Campbell
was the killer.
Yeah.
That was the killer because without that pick 6, it's a lot closer. Without that pick 6, we win.
That was also, I believe it was like a 3rd down too. So granted, they would have got the ball back, but we're punting to him. And also, speaking about punting, Jack Fox, that was disappointing. He did not have the best punting day of his Lions tenure. He had a lot that were right either on the 18, 19, or 20. And it's like, might as well go for the end zone if you're putting them there.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on all this, Nick?
Yes. Onside kick was a great call. That's what Dan Campbell does. That's what I said at the beginning of the year. Stay true to who you are, Dan Campbell. Go for it on 4th down more than anyone else. Do these trick plays more than anyone else. And put yourself so that the other team is always on your toes. This is a chess game. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint. We did lose this game. It did turn out bad here. But ultimately, later in that game, Nick Sirianni had to call a timeout after we scored a touchdown just right before the kickoff because he was so flustered and didn't want to have an onside kick against them right after that. So it's a chess game. I'm very okay with it. We held them. We missed that onside kick and then held them to 3rd and 4. Allowed
the Goddard,
22 yards. Allowed Jalen Hurts to get 5 yards to extend that play, and then it went to Goddard.
Okay.
I'm not blaming Dan Campbell's onside kick for that 3rd down and 4 nonstop. Stop him. He put his trust in his defense. By doing that, that's not trusting your defense, hoping that you get it back. That's trusting your defense so much that if I don't get it back, I can trust my defense. Even if we've allowed 21 points at this point or 25 points at this time, whatever, I'm going to trust them that they can stop them. And they almost did. That's the utmost faith that Dan Campbell has in his defense, where he'll onside kick it 9 times last year, only get it 3, but trust that his defense, one of the worst defenses, will stop him 6 times. That's awesome. I love that with him. But the killer wasn't that Bradbury interception. It hurt. We were down 21-7 after that. There's a lot more points to be scored after this. What hurt was there was 2 killers. One, Josh Reynolds' drop was the biggest killer in this game. That was we were down by 10 with plenty of time to go. By the time we scored our touchdown, the following drive after we punted, stopped the Eagles, got the ball back, scored a touchdown. We had to do this three down stop. That's all we could do, right? And on that 3 down stop is killer number 2. On the 2nd down, and Julius texted this, and I hate to steal it, Julius, but I'll bring it up because I'm talking about the killer parts. Boston freaking Scott, 5'6", scampers after first touch for 7 yards to fall to 3rd and 1. We stop him on 3rd and 1, an amazing 3rd and 1 stop. 4th and 1, We didn't stop Hurts as much as I wanted us to. We didn't do it. He got in front of it. Seemed like maybe we stripped the ball while he was still on top of people, and
it was
no one ever
close.
talked about it. But whatever, we lost the game, and it wasn't because of that interception. Because Jared Goff fixed his rights. I think it was because Reynolds didn't catch it, and because we allowed Boston Scott to get 6 extra yards on the final drive of the game. Those are my two big killers.
I agree, Nick. With some of that at least, because I do think the Bradbury interception that was. I agree. I'm with Julius on that one. I think that was a big dagger. But Boston Scott basically going to the ground at the line of scrimmage, then putting his arm down and stumbling forward for that extra 5 yards. That was like. That can't happen.
What player made first contact with Boston Scott on that play?
Who?
Juju Hughes, who was only in the game, reserve safety. He was only in the game because Tracy Walker was ejected. And he tried to lunge in with his shoulder to tackle Boston Scott,
and he just
instead of wrapping him up. So the shoulder lunge actually propelled Boston Scott, stumbled him an extra few yards. That was the end of the game.
Real quick, if we're bringing up griefs about players, I want to bring up a grief on Derek Barnes. All right, he had some plays. There was one specific play on this drive, but not that 4 downs. Before that, we held him to a 3rd and 2, and Miles Sanders scampered for 24 yards. He ran basically into his guards, popped out left, and hit the hole.
Mm-hmm.
On that, Derek Barnes comes around, fills this gap, and then gives up on Miles Sanders rather than like lunging. Just puts his hand out and like he's finishing a race. Doesn't even do anything. You have to make the utmost effort there. There's a reason Derek Barnes is not going to be who we thought he was, and there's a reason why Rodrigo started the game and will be an elite linebacker as a 6th-round pick. Because he gave nothing but the utmost effort. And there is a play where he messed up as well. There was a touchdown where he rushed in.
It was, I think, the
first
RPO
touchdown. Running back, and Jalen Hurts scampered right away, and Rodrigo's got fucked on it.
Yeah.
And I'll bring it up, and I'll show tape on it. But he looked so much better than Derek Barnes. Barnes is terrible. I can't have him. I can't have him playing right now.
And that's tough too, because we're already, a weak linebacker core. And I think Brad Holmes,
Chris Board, Malcolm Rodriguez, and Alex Anzalone. I'm cool with those 3.
Anzalone made a bad penalty. He played good. He's a very good linebacker. I've always been a big fan of him, as much as Julius doesn't like him. But I need Anzalone to not make those mistakes.
Well, also one other big, mistake that led into another mistake was, Nick, I might give you a second thought on this onside kick, because what also that onside kick did is it not only gave the Eagles a touchdown, it kicked Tracy Walker out of the game. On that drive, that 3rd and 5 where Jalen Hurts scampers to the outside, that was when he got ejected. So
I'm not saying that.
You get what I'm saying?
It all connects.
Tracy Walker's a captain. Go be Captain America, and don't be some hard-headed dude.
Yeah,
even if you get pushed from the back from Goddard, do not turn around slapping. Just don't do that.
And then also the stupid thing, Hurts was doing his slide. He has his slide down perfect.
He slides late.
So good.
Yeah, and head up. He slides head up.
He knows how to get that call, and it's like if he tucks, it's perfect. And all game long, it was looking like, was that the late hit, the helmet to helmet, and the refs weren't calling it. And then finally, that Tracy Walker play, it was literally same thing he's been doing all game. Refs just decided this
was
one.
A good call. It was the refs did not make a bad call on that play.
Tracy
Walker did everything wrong on that.
He should not have lunged at Jalen Hurts with his helmet and shoulder, because that made it look like it was targeting.
You got to slap him with your hand.
Yeah. Tracy Walker, I'm sure he learned his lesson. I'm sure he has learned his lesson.
Yeah, I think it's different than like Jared Davis who headbutted Jamie Collins.
Jamie Collins.
It's like I believe Tracy Walker will learn from this and become better because of it. Anzalone also had bad mistakes. He is also a captain. Those can't happen on defense. Our guys look up to Derek Barnes, Rodrigo look up to you, and seeing you make this hot-headed dumb play, that's just not going to happen. It doesn't work for me. I don't like it.
One thing I did like, and I liked it all game. It
You
was
like
our boy DeAndre Swift,
Woo!
who is the first ever peak performer week 1 Lion of the week. That was my little, yeah. It's a party, like the Office scene to get the champagne, where he finds out he.
That's
I-
great.
Anyways, yeah. So DeAndre Swift, of course, our peak performer of the week. How could he not be? 15 carries, 144 yards, I believe. Maybe it'll touch 150. What?
144 rushing.
144 rushing. Okay, yes. So absolute monster of a game. All you can imagine if he got, an extra 8 carries that maybe Jamal might not have got. Swift might crack 200. But all in all, I'll ask you guys first. Julius, do you see a 200 plus rushing game from DeAndre Swift?
A 200-yard game?
Rushing.
I think we could. We very well could, but I doubt we do because that's hard to do. You just don't even see it from the elite backs that many times. But we could because maybe, this is turning into something with DeAndre Swift because I haven't saw this kind of star ability since Calvin Johnson. That's like when you see it on the screen, it's like undeniable to the world's eyes. DeAndre Swift is showing it. As long as he stay healthy behind this offensive line, man, I'm telling you, the sky's the limit this season. The sky is the limit for DeAndre Swift. Not to mention next season. Then we got to start talking about paying him a little bit of money. But hey, listen, what if he can keep this up? It's sustainable. It's so sustainable.
100%. Swift, he reassured me that this is by far the best running back we've seen since Barry Sanders. By far a top 10 running back, possibly top 5 running back, can make the case for it.
Adam, do you remember when the Lions drafted him? We were on this show live.
Oh, it was great.
Live reaction. We couldn't believe they traded up to get him. Like, this dude is the next great thing. It's finally coming to fruition.
Yeah, and honestly, if you look at some of the other backs in that draft, CEH, I mean, granted, Jonathan Taylor's playing really well too, but had we taken CEH, that would have been tough. So DeAndre Swift, peak performer of the week. And thanks to our sponsors at Peak Performers, we are giving away a DeAndre Swift Lions jersey. We'll have the announcement posted on Twitter either later tonight or tomorrow, but we are doing our first giveaway of the season, a DeAndre Swift jersey. Hey, when the post gets posted, let us know what color you want because we aren't set on the Honolulu blue, the crisp white, the nice gray, maybe. Never know. There's a lot of good colors for us Lions fans.
Black, if we introduce one this year.
Ooh, black would be crispy.
That would be nice. Maybe we keep that one.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. Just we'll do
we got a great one for you. Don't worry.
Exactly. Any thoughts on our boy DeAndre Swift, Nick? Was this kind of like a coming of, an elite running back?
Yeah, he looked really good. We're not going to see the outright 30 rush games from him. 200 will be tough, but we do play some very weak teams this year, so doable against the Jets or the Seahawks or the Jaguars. I mean, we can do it against them. The Giants maybe. So Jamal Williams yanks 2 touchdowns from Swift.
I know.
In the red zone. Any thoughts on it? Are we happy?
I mean, as a fantasy owner of Swift, I'm like, but as a Lions fan, I'm liking that we are getting Jamal involved. That's where I think Jamal should be a heavy goal line back. And as much as I want Swift to get these touchdowns, I would love to see our big bruiser Jamal finish those off and not let Swift take those little naggy extra hits. Granted, it probably won't mean the world to him, but it will pile up, if he does keep taking them. But I like that, he isn't a big time workhorse and he still produces workhorse numbers. So DeAndre Swift, sky's the limit. I'm right with you and Julius. I'm not going to lock in a 200-yard performance, but after what I just saw, a 50-yard rush on his first rush attempt, a 144-yard performance, absolutely phenomenal. Swift, sky's the limit for this guy, and we saw pretty high limits.
his peak is not even here yet either. He is still revving up. You know what I mean?
I like it. All right. Let's talk a couple other mishaps other than the drops, not being able to stop a running quarterback. It's your boy Sternberg, Nick. He was clocked.
Stenberg.
No, it's Sternberg.
Is it Sternberg?
Yes.
Never get it right. I like Stenberg. He's a lot
I know.
better when he plays
The
Stenberg.
R sneaks in there, very sneaky, but he did not play well. He let up the not sack, but it was like the blown rush in which forced Goff to make that poor decision. And ultimately, if Goff doesn't have pressure, he probably throws it. I don't know, because it did seem like he was already in that motion of Hawk making that break. So it kind of seemed like it was going to be an interception or a tip pass regardless, but you never know if he just doesn't have any pressure. One thing I will say is Jared Goff he cannot get off his first read. He always is staring down whoever his first read is. And granted, it's been working, but there's been a couple times where I want to see him look off, just get the defenders moving, and he just is not a master with his eyes. And that's something that the elite quarterbacks, that's what you got to have. You got to be able to move the players with your eyes, your head, keep your head in a swivel, and then make that first read. Even if the guy's, open, maybe look off, see if he's on a slant, if he's going to get more break, then hit him. So I don't know. Julius, Goff on his first read, is this something that you've been noticing at all?
Yeah, it's something I noticed. Something I noticed last year. It's just one of the things I'm not really too worried about his, the first. I feel like it'll get better with time, and I feel like last year it took Goff a long time to get in his groove. It took half the season. We all know the two tails of the Goff, the two halves of Goff last year, the two halves of Goff this first game. But I feel like it's going to come a little quicker for him this year if he keeps at it. Like I mentioned earlier in the show, all the drops and the miscommunication and the out of syncness with the receivers, I feel like that's going to improve for Goff. Those circumstances. Like, they're not going to keep dropping all these passes. Amon-Ra didn't drop a ball last year. They're not going to keep dropping these balls. This out of syncness, that's going to recover itself. They're going to practice it. They're going to work on it in practice. They're going to keep it a point of fact in their minds at all times. Let's not turn this into the Philly game. And so Goff shouldn't be presented with those type of issues. So the first read, second read, it's all going to come with a groove. And I just got a feeling it's going to come sooner rather than later.
We did see a little bit of that second half. And in the second half, Lions scored touchdowns on 3 of their 4 drives. And the fourth drive they didn't score a touchdown was that Josh Reynolds pass where it hit him right in the hands. And it looked like he possibly could have turned the corner and got into the end zone. If not, it would have been at least like a 25, maybe longer yard gain. So it is concerning for me. Nick, is this Goff's anything to concern?
Man, Jared Goff's been doing this since freaking college, since California. This ain't nothing new. It's been concerning since week 1 of his rookie year. It'll be concerning until the last week of his final year. Jared Goff is not a great quarterback. This is what we're doing right now. We have to scheme to him. Ben Johnson has to call plays to gets his first read open. We are, like Julius was like, it might come in time. It ain't coming. It's been 8 years, 6 years. Jared Goff in the league. It ain't coming. This is who he is. Like, he is who we thought he would be. This is Jared Goff. Adapt to it. Win with this. Figure it out. Be the best coach in the NFL. Don't rely on having the best quarterback. Trent Dilfer wasn't the best quarterback. They won games. They won a Super Bowl. Doesn't happen often, but it can happen. I'm not worried about it because this is just who he is. I'm not more worried about it than I was when we traded for him last year. So, Jared Goff, we have to supply him with the utmost talent, the absolute best. Even with the absolute best, like he had with the Rams, it almost wasn't good enough. You need to have you can't have 1 drop, let alone 5. You can't have 1 pressure, let alone 5. You can't allow 38 points. Like, Jared Goff has to have like this beautiful, cradled, and that's just who he is. So no, I'm not nervous about it. I just hope that our coaching staff can read this and win games with it. And it looked like we will be able to with the way we adapted. I never saw Anthony Lynn did not adapt like that last year. In fact, he would not adapt to anything, and they would tank in the second half, and that's why we lost 7 games. It wasn't until DC took over and was like, yo, I'm going to win some freaking games because I see what's happening here. Ben Johnson adapted immediately. Said, we are not losing 44-6 this year the way Anthony Lynn did before he got fired. We're going to go, and we're going to compete, and we're going to damn win this game. And we almost freaking did if our defense could have done something.
Facts.
Yeah,
dude, our defense is not that good, boys.
They're not.
Yeah, it's
But
very
they're
raw.
They're not as bad as last year, and we played a really good team. That's what I keep banking on. Is we played a top 5 team in the NFC.
Well,
we have to remember that.
Yeah, and it's like with a quarterback, granted, Hurts isn't the best passer, but just like factoring in all his ability, he makes it work, and especially against like average to below average teams, and that's right where the Lions are at. So it was a great test because we are going to, like you said, see Justin Fields twice, Julius. So it's a good preparing us, and I would like Jalen Hurts to whoop our butt on the ground before Justin Fields did, because I do not want to see Justin Fields run for anywhere more than what Vegas has him doing.
Justin Fields looked good.
He did, but it was also a little side tangent. Super rainy, muddy game. I am not taking anything out of that.
I agree, Adam. I agree.
A couple little things.
Don't trust rained out games.
The only thing I will say, oh man, Ryan Poles came down in the, for those who don't know, that's GM of the Bears. He came down in the rain and hugged every coach, players, and was just so excited. And I was like, man, I can envision Brad Holmes like doing this outside of Lambeau when we just upset the Packers week 14 or whatever after taking down Rodgers, and Brad Holmes comes down from his suite. It's all just getting in the mud and everything. I just got me going. It was a nice little Bears thing when I'm normally hating on the Bears.
Yeah.
But real quick, before we move on to the Commanders preview, I want to talk 2 highlights of this game. One was Jeff Okudah. He was honestly phenomenal. This guy was, if we get this the rest of the season, I'm taking it. I'll have good for me. If it's anything less than this, okay, not the worst. And then obviously if it gets worse, it gets worse. But Okudah, he held Devonta Smith to 4 targets, no catches. When he was on A.J. Brown, he was holding his ground. He had a terrible pass interference call on him in which it extended a drive, and Okudah, actually, no, I think it was offsetting penalties.
It was offsetting.
Yeah. So, but nonetheless, Okudah played it well and got penalized for it. And then my other one, Malcolm Rodrigo, absolutely gator rolling, tossing, Hall of Fame center, Jason Kelce to the ground, rookie on big boy. It was so cool. And hopefully, I don't know what you guys think about this, but for me, even though Kelce blew him off the block and Rodriguez was knocked out of the play from the start, I loved that he did not give up. He took him to the ground, showed that, hey, I'm not a little boy. You can't be bullying me like this. And, put a little hurt on the old man, because all in all, Lane Johnson, those hits are going to add up. And if Rodriguez does that to him, 3 times a game, or does that to, a player 3 times a game, they're going to get beat up. So, boys, a couple of my buddies were thinking, oh, this wasn't that cool. It was blown up as much as it was. So am I wrong? I feel like this was pretty sweet.
That was amazing. Holy crap. It was outstanding to watch. I watched it 125 times, flipping him, dude. Kelce too. Like, it would have been great if it was anyone, but let alone it was Kelce. That was outstanding. I love Rodrigo so much. There's the sports store that's right next to my house. They're selling Rodrigo jerseys now. I'm going to get one.
I'll tell you what, if you guys want to save $1, go out, find a Javid Best jersey and just slap a Rodriguez print on the back of that puppy.
I think it's gonna be pretty hard to find a Best jersey these days. I don't know.
Ironically, I saw a dude wearing a Javid Best jersey at the game, and I was like, wow. Haven't seen one of those in a while. Julius, first thoughts on this Rodrigo barrel toss, or any comments on Okudah
it was
playing
excellent.
lights
It
out?
was an excellent hip toss, perfect form. You could tell he wrestled in high school, you know what I'm saying? And he loves to play football, and those type of players with his type of athleticism, bit undersized, but with his strength and his athleticism, he can end up being a very good linebacker here for a very long time. Him, Jeff Okudah, and Aiden Hutchinson on all three levels of the defense are just all going to be positive additions to this team this season on those three levels. I'm not saying our defense is going to be good, but I feel like they're better and that they are going to be good enough to win with, especially later on in the season. Injuries withstanding, of course. But
Yeah,
I think they're going to get better as the season goes on as a unit.
I agree, and you didn't need to backtrack your tweet either. They have changed our defense, bro.
Yeah.
That defense is fully changed with those three.
Right.
And then also, Nick, your dad makes a great point. The Lions, we didn't settle for any field goals. And if we're only putting up touchdowns, which honestly, like last year, I feel like we were either going for it on 4th and 1 and not getting it or kicking field goals. So touchdowns. Let's make Dan Campbell's decisions of 4th and 1 as less as possible.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. Great point.
All right, boys. Next week, we have the Washington Commanders, who are now 1-0, coming off a win against the Jaguars. They are now down, not 1, but 2, like I mentioned earlier, starting defensive linemen. So this makes me believe that DeAndre Swift is going to have possibly a better game than he just did against a pretty decent Eagles defense. And if DeAndre Swift takes up a notch from what he just did, this game should honestly be in the bag, as I knock on wood. But all in all, it's the Lions, so you can't say anything's ever in the bag. But for me, I think Swift's going to have a monster game. We should just play through Swift, play through the play action. Goff, don't make any silly things. Hopefully the players are on the same page, running the correct routes, and we don't have to deal with any of that. And hopefully the catches are there and no one's making any drops. And if we do those things, I think we can easily win this game, despite, Jahan Dotson, rookie, going for 2 touchdowns, Terry McLaurin going for a touchdown, and Antonio Gibson playing pretty well. And also, if we're talking guys we're not going to be facing, no Brian Robinson Jr., who is still on IR due to being shot. It's crazy if that sounds, but he would have been a guy that if him and Gibson in the backfield, that's a solid tandem. So another thing I will say, Gibson, I want to stop him in the pass game. He saw like 7 or 8 targets with 6 for like 60. He had a phenomenal game through the air, and it was because the Commanders are finally using him to what he is, and that's a former college wide receiver. So Gibson can catch the ball. Don't underestimate him. Don't let him get those wheeled routes. Nick, give me some keys to victory.
Our linebackers, though, that's the key. You have to stop Antonio Gibson and those pass catching. And it's all going to be on linebackers and safeties coming up to help out. Our linebackers played all right. I need them to play amazing this week. It also is going to go to the linebackers of Washington. We have to take advantage of their defensive line, which means we're going to have to beat their linebackers if we can take advantage of that defensive line. DeAndre Swift should have a great game, like you said, if we can push them back. And that's what we have to do. We can't allow their linebackers to fill the gaps like we need our linebackers to. Secondary, I think we're better than Jacksonville. Really, Jacksonville's defense and our defense might be right on par. Okay, Washington scored 28. They're probably going to score 28-31 against us. We need our offense to stay hungry. 35 points, 35-31 Lions.
Yeah, if we can do 35 against the Eagles, we should be able to do 30 plus against the Commanders.
Yeah. I mean, we're not as fresh now. It's going to start being a
Very
little bit
true.
different.
Yeah.
They got tape on us now. You know what I mean? We're probably not going to be able to score as much as we did. Our offense is not going to look that good. But still, I think we can be able. I think we can do it. 35.
Well, counterpoint. We got some tape on Carson Wentz Commander version.
Yep.
So
yeah, absolutely. Yep.
That'll be interesting. Julius, how are we going to win this game?
Keys to the game against the Commanders. Okay, I honestly think this is the perfect rebound game for the Lions, right? I honestly wish we played the Commanders in week 1 and then the Eagles in week 2.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I take the Commanders in week 2. And simply put, looking back at what they did with the Jaguars, Carson Wentz didn't do anything special, and he made a lot of mistakes, a lot of things that we know that Carson Wentz is capable, the kind of mistakes he's capable of making. However, he did a lot of damage against with spreading the ball around to his tight ends and running backs out of the backfield. Antonio Gibson had like 7 or 8 grabs. Logan Thomas was highly involved. Terry McLaurin, their wide receivers were basically not even targeted that much. And J.D. McKissick, another running back they have coming out the backfield.
Former Lion.
Catching the ball out of the backfield. And those guys came through against the Jaguars defense. So like Nick alluded to, the linebackers, we need Malcolm Rodrigo and Alex Anzalone to be on a game. We need Tracy Walker and who's our other safety? The new guy.
Deshaun Elliott.
Deshaun Elliott, Tracy Walker. We need those guys to be on. We could also use stand to pressure the underrated Washington offensive line, which I don't know if they're dealing with any injuries or not, but Jaguars really weren't able to get to Carson Wentz as far as sacks and quarterback hits. It will help us if Aiden, Alan McNeil, some of these guys on the edge, Austin Bryant, put some real pressure on Wentz, because we know what happens when Wentz gets uncomfortable in the pocket.
And how much pressure do we put on Hurts? And how often have we said so far this episode that they have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL? Mm-hmm. We should take advantage of Washington. We should get to Wentz. Every single time we touched Hurts, count that as a sack against Wentz. That's like 8 or 9.
Most definitely. And Jacksonville also ran the ball very effectively on Washington. They have huge problems in the front seven. They have huge injuries going on in the front seven. Man, DeAndre Swift can go off. Fantasy alert.
Yeah, man.
I got the Lions winning this game. Actually, I got the Lions winning this game comfortably. 28-10.
Ooh. I like it. Yeah, we just saw James Robinson average 6.6 yards per carry, coming off a torn Achilles in his first game against the Commanders. So Swift should absolutely have a monster day. Let's get some score predictions. Nick, you got the pen and paper down?
34-31.
34-31, 28.
I got 28-10. Hey, if the Lions come out making those same drops, off sync, Jared Goff off sync with the receivers, little dumb stuff going on, and we lose, the season is over. And we'll talk about that next week. But I don't expect that, like I said, because I expect them to fix those fixable things.
I'm going to go 27-14, and I agree with you, Julius. I think we're going to fix a lot of these fixable things in which it was just little ticky-tacky small errors that added up to big stuff. So if we can just take out 1 to 2 of those little things, even if we have a couple drops, even if we have, a couple of interceptions, we could still, take control of this game. The Commanders, I shouldn't say they aren't special, because they granted they're 1-0. They're relatively newly team with, Wentz and Jahan Dotson, in which we're going to see another phenomenal matchup of Okudah likely versus Jahan Dotson, unless they want to put him against Terry McLaurin, but I don't think that'll be the case. So 27-20, I think is what 27-14 is what I'm going with. Carson Wentz, not as mobile as Jalen Hurts. Like our boy Aaron in the comments said, we had 19 pressures on Hurts. We should have at least a couple sacks on Wentz with, maybe even more pressures. Lions, we absolutely need to win this game, because like you said, Julius, if this is another one of those little Jared Goff dump off, silly ticky-tacky lame games, we're looking at 0-2 traveling to the Vikings, who just knocked down the Packers and looked very good, in which Justin Jefferson looked like not just the best wide receiver in the NFL, but possibly one of the best wide receivers of all time. And that's saying a lot.
Yeah.
So the Lions, we cannot fall to 0-2 going there, because our next game, 0-3, it would just, that takes a lot of wind out of you. And we saw what happened when the Lions went 0-5, and then we made this incredible run with Stafford, and we got right there. But we just, all we had to do was, I think, beat the Packers without Rodgers, something like that, and we couldn't do it. So even if we don't get the win at the end of the year, we need these little gimme wins.
Washington is a gimme win. We got to take it. Have to take advantage of it.
I agree. And also I'm happy that they did beat the Jaguars, because if they did, I never like playing teams coming off losses. I just feel like they're, amped up more. So
Scrap game.
Exactly. Yeah. Also, I do. Yeah. So the Lions are a 2-point favorite in this too. So
2.5.
2.5. All right. Are we covering? I think if we win, we definitely cover.
I think we all predicted us to cover. I was the closest
That's
with
true.
the 34-31.
That's true.
So
All right, boys and girls, that is going to do it for our show. As always, check us out as a whole at Honolulu Blues _ on Twitter. Check me out, Adam Stark at Everyday FFB, and then check out my boy Nick at Nick Faber NFL, and of course, can't leave out my guy Julius at the Fifth Top. Love it, boys. If you guys are feeling the subscribing mood or the likey mood, give us some likes, some subscribes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. If you're watching, we love it all. And of course, be on the lookout for our DeAndre Swift jersey giveaway. That's what will be coming soon. Maybe not super soon because Monday Night Football is coming up and I'm getting ready to watch that. But it'll be coming very soon.
Make sure you get on Twitter if you want to get in. Be on Twitter. We aren't doing the Facebook. You got to be on Twitter to be in the giveaway. So get on Twitter, or maybe give us a shout out on our YouTube channel to make us know that you're subscribed. Maybe you get entered that way.
Absolutely. All right, boys. Until next week, and go Lions!